This edition of Up Close with Colin Thompson is brought to you by Windows Group of Companies. Why go anywhere else?
And welcome back. For those just joining, we're joined today by talented sailor Sebastian Kempe, who's obviously coming off a highly successful and historic year last year in winning Bermuda's first medal at the Laser Radio Youth World Championships in Italy, and then followed up with winning Bermuda's first gold at the Youth Sailing World Championships in Oman. So, Seb, just before the break, we spoke about, match racing and Olympic ambitions and America's Cup ambitions, but not too far off in the near future, you've got the Star Sailors League coming up. I believe, are you campaigning for that as well?
I am not actually. Okay. My father will be, but because they have an 18-year-old rule, so you have to be 18 years old to compete in that. Unfortunately, if I was 18, I would be all over that. But unfortunately not. I respect the rule, and I'll be there, and hopefully I'll be there in the next 2 years.
So, what do you think about that this new competition?
Yeah, I think it sounds pretty good. I don't really know a whole lot about it. Yeah, it looks like it looks like a lot of fun. It looks like a great way to incorporate more developing countries into the larger scale of sailing, because countries like Bermuda, we have talent, and I know that other small countries, they have talent as well. The girl who won in the Youth Worlds was from Peru. In the Ilka 6, and there are small countries that have great talent, and I think the Star Sailors League is a great way for those countries to demonstrate that they're here too, and we can compete against these bigger nations like Great Britain and America and Italy.
How about Sail-GP? They're going to be back here in May and again next year. What do you think about the F50s and that series? Pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting. It is. It's an exciting time for the sport. I think that the sport can only grow from here. Sail-GP is a great way, I think, for the sport to grow, and the sport to grow into a new sort of area that it hasn't experienced before, and a new fan base that it can attract. I personally don't really follow Sail-GP as much as I do the America's Cup or as I do other things because. I just don't really follow it as intently. I see it, I say okay, and I hope to be there one day. But right now, my goal is to get there. So watching it would not make a lot of sense for me.
And what about foiling? Have you ever foiled before?
Yeah. Foiling is a lot of fun.
Yeah, what class?
Yeah. Oh, that is a great experience. And one day I really hope I can. Once I get past the laser campaigning, I hope I can get into the foiling classes, because that is the next generation. That's the future of sailing. Indeed.
And what class? Any particular classes you targeted?
Yeah, I mean, I sail the Wasp at the moment, just as a kind of like on the side when I'm not training in the Yoke 6. That's just to keep the skills there. But foiling is expensive. Yeah, the guys in the Moth. That's not cheap stuff. I'm 16 years old. I'm 16. I'm in high school. I don't have time or energy or money to pay for that sort of thing. So I stick to my Ilka 6 sailing, and one day I'll get there. One day I'll be able to do that. But for now, I'm gonna hone in my skills and my feel with the tactical, more difficult boats instead of a more of a pay-to-win kind of boat.
Now, just to go back, obviously you're studying and you're competing as well. How do you balance all that? Obviously you got to prepare yourself, you got to train. What's average day, for Sebastian? Doing both, training and academics. And
it is difficult. It is. It's not something that everybody does. It's a big hurdle that is for me, for academics and sailing and my training all in one. luckily I'm at this school right now, which kind of helps me with that a little bit. But at the end of the day, it's up to me. It's up to me. I wake up really, really early in the morning. I go out for a run, or I go inside for the bike now. The school just helped me out with that. Yeah, there's a lot of hours on the bike. There's a lot of hours in the gym. And there's a lot of hours going over just watching video of you, watching video of pros, comparing what are they doing, looking at the physics behind techniques and looking at the physics behind how to make the boat go faster. Yeah, that's a lot of what I do in my life. And then, yeah, studying on top of that. You find the time to do the studying, after the studying, full time on the sailing. There's not a whole lot of time for rest. I go to sleep early, I wake up early. A lot of people in my house think I'm a little bit crazy, but I want to win. I don't like losing anymore.
And obviously some days, you know, you're not really up to it. You know, when you're confronted with those days, you know, where it's tough, you know, for whatever reason, you know, what is it that, you know, really keeps you going? And like say, hey, you know what, I don't feel like it, but I got to stick it out. What is it that keeps you going?
I remember losing in the Opti class. I did well for Bermuda, but I feel in myself that I could have done more, and I never want to get to an event and lose and feel that I could have done more. That feeling is, it's okay to lose. It is. Losing is learning, and there's so many things you can learn from losing. But one thing that I learned the most from my Optimist career was that if you don't put in the work, don't expect to win, because you won't. And don't expect to do well, because you won't. It doesn't matter how much talent you have and how much feel you have and where you come from. If you don't work hard, nothing will happen. So. And you talked about, you know, preparing yourself physically. How about mentally? You know, what do you do to keep yourself mentally in tune? Because I mean, it's you know, sport is a lot mental, you know, especially out there on the course, and so much is happening. You got to stay focused and deal with situations, you know, as they arise. So, you know, what is it that you do in particular to prepare your best for this? Yeah, it is true. Yeah, sailing is a very mental sport. Yeah, you have ups and downs, and you have to bounce back from those ups, from those downs, and you have to be able to turn things around and fight back. I work with a sports psychologist, and I speak to him once every 2 weeks. I speak to him after important events and such, and we kind of analyze and go through what were your thoughts at this moment, what were your behaviors, what sort of things are you doing at this time. And I also feedback with my coach. I have a brilliant coach, Sean Priestley, and he gives me just the bluntness of, this is what you did wrong, mate. This is the things we need to work on. When you came over to the coach with this time after this race, this is what I thought about your actions now. This is what I thought about the things that you're feeding back to me. And then after it's like, yeah, all right, that's cool. Let's work on this. Let's work on this. Let's work on this. And we build on from there, and we're always improving. In Oman, we were after the first day, we were in 5th. We were not doing well, but after every single day, we were going back through, analyzing every race, analyzing through all of the data that we get from the tracking company that was there, and yeah, we were improving every single day. And by the end of the event, I said to him that, yeah, I don't even mind if we lose this, because I know in my mind that I've earned this and I've worked the hardest for this. And if I lose tomorrow, I'm not going to feel like I lost because I didn't work hard. I'm going to feel that I lost for an impracticality.
And also, you know, who are some of your role models, some of the sailors, local, international, and then international, that inspired you, you know, or haven't continued to inspire you?
Yeah, my dad's a big inspiration for me. Yeah, when I was growing up, he always sailed those fit dinghies, and all I remember is him winning all of the trophies at the prize givings, and I was like, I want to do that. And him and his buddy Adam Barboza going out and sailing in the Viper class, and yeah, those two guys are definitely my role models, my idols. In terms of greater sailing, though, yeah, I look up to people like Tom Slingsby, Ben Ainsley, but yeah, it all comes down to my dad and Adam Barboza.
Tom Slingsby. Obviously, he's in the mix for the championship, defending champions Australia in the SailGP, going into the grand event. Certainly exciting times for Slingsby and crew. What is it about Slingsby that you know that stands out for you? Yeah, so you mentioned Tom Slingsby. Slingsby is one of the international sailors who inspires you. You know why? What is it about Slingsby that that you admire?
Yeah, he's come from a similar background to me. He was 16 years old, sailing the laser, and he went on the road to the Olympics, and he went to Beijing, and he lost, unfortunately, and he had to fight back and come back and win in the Yoka 7 in the London Games in 2012, and that watching his race in London, he had so much drive and so much ambition for the sport. It's something that just inspires you just watching it. In that race against Pavlos Contides and against the guys in that medal race. And then obviously after that, he continues to be the forefront of sailing. He continues to be dominant. And yeah, he continues to be one of the best in the world. Even after losing in Beijing. That's inspiring for me. And that's something that I aspire to do. Hopefully not lose like that, but hopefully I can learn on his mistake and learn how I can move forward from that and how I can become a better sailor.
You touched on some of your preparations, and as far in terms of the technology that's available now, how you can study and break down and analyze things. How much does technology help today in the sport of sailing?
Yeah, the sport of sailing, yeah. I mean, I use technology for my sport all the time. I obviously, when I'm in the gym, I'm wearing the heart rate monitor to track heart rate zones when I'm on the bike. That's how I measure my work rate. And then on the water, when I'm training, we will take data from the monitor and take GPS data and look at speed and look at plug it into a computer app and look at speed and look at angle and VMG, all the numbers. But yeah, on the water, when obviously you're sailing big boats, numbers are probably important. Yeah, but for somebody sailing in Oka 6, I don't believe in it. I don't believe in looking at numbers the entire time when you're sailing, because I believe that coming from Bermuda and coming from a background of talent and a background from that feeling that you have when you're in the boat, I base it all on feel. Most of the times, like, I'll go upwind and just do it purely on feel and just sail my boat the way that I think that I should be sailing it, not based on what a computer thinks I should be sailing it by. But if I look at the data afterwards and I'm going 0.1 knots slower than everyone else, but I'm going higher towards the wind, obviously I will analyze that and maybe make a change in my technique. Yeah, and that's one of the greatest feedback loops.
And now, just outside of sailing, outside of academics, just regular Sebastian, what do you do in your spare time? Any other sports? What sort of recreation, or other activities you like to engage in, outside of, studying and competing?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, there's not really a whole lot, I won't lie to you. This is my life. This is what I've chosen to do. I am young, but I have chosen this route, and I've chosen to do sailing as a career, and that is not hard. That's not easy. Sorry, especially any sport. Being a professional at it, it's not easy. You have to give up a lot. I've given up a lot over the last couple of years. I've barely been home. Maybe, I think if you count in total in the last 2 or 3 years, I've been home maybe a month. You give up a lot. You do, like friendships and relationships and things that you have with people, and you have to put those aside. You have to, for me, I have to keep my head down and keep learning and keep growing, because yeah, one day I will retire, and one day I'll look back and it'll be worth it. Yeah, in my spare time I'm usually in the gym or studying. or I'm using my spare time to go to an event. This weekend I just came back from an event, but if I wasn't there, I would be in the gym. Yeah.
Okay, when you're in the gym, you have your headsets on. What sort of music you like? I mean, everyone has a little music going in the gym. What sort of music you like?
I listen to that soca, you know what I mean?
Soca! All right. That gets you going.
Oh yeah, every time. Every time. 6 o'clock in the morning, that's the thing you put on.
Anything else?
Not really. Pop, whatever's on the radio, to be honest.
But soca's the main one.
Soca's the one that will wake you up in the morning.
All right, Sebastian, man, it's been a pleasure chatting with you, catching up with you, and certainly wish you all the best in your future endeavors. But before we go, any shout outs that you want to give to anyone?
Yeah, I like to shout out to my mom and my dad. They work ridiculously hard for me, and they've put a lot away for me. My mom especially, she works really, really hard, and she doesn't always get the credit because it's quite behind the scenes, but yeah, she's the reason that I'm here and I'm doing this and I'm able to chase my dream because of all of the hard work and all the things that she goes through. Obviously, my dad gets to come with me to all of the events. He chose that route when I was quite young to not focus on a professional career, but to be there for his son, and that's something that I'll always be grateful. Yeah, that's time with my father and the hard work that my mother goes through for me. And for the family, I'll always be grateful for that.
Great stuff, and I'm sure they're proud of you. And again, we wish you all the best of luck in your future endeavors. Well, folks, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Colin.
This edition of Up Close with Colin Thompson is brought to you by Lindo's Group of Companies. Why go anywhere else?